Hey, what up, YouTube? Coming to y'all real fast with it might be kind of fast of a video about a topic that a lot of people have been nervous about, been talking about, been getting DMs and stuff about this particular thing dealing with the car industry right now. So I want to come and kind of give y'all an idea about what's going on. It's not anything new, for one thing. This has been going on for years. And the topic is about how car manufacturers are trying to control the narrative about who works on their cars and who's not allowed to work on their cars. So, of course, let's get to the main part of it. We do a little back history on it. Years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, Mercedes had a lock on all of their systems to where you had to go to the dealership to have it repaired because they believed in proprietary rights. That word was a little bit, mouth dry. But anyway, because of that, they figured they controlled the narrative on who's allowed to work on their cars. It had nothing to do with security or none of that stuff. It had more to do with, okay, if these people are allowed to go outside to let Jimmy, Bobby, whoever works on their car, are they truly allowed to work on that car? The thing of it was, a lot of these were the little shops that primarily dealt with German cars and stuff of that nature. They had to have the training to actually do the work on those cars. Just like with any car manufacturer, a lot of the stuff is the same across the board. But when you start getting into the electrical components of it, that's when everything changes. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. And Mercedes, that actually went to court under the right to repair in a lot of states back in the day. And we're still facing that today. The latest was Tesla. Some of y'all might know, some of y'all might know. Tesla had all of their systems locked forever, just like Mercedes used to. And go back a little bit, go back to Mercedes. Mercedes had that venture with Chrysler years ago that some of y'all probably remember or may not remember. But let me help you out with that. That's where the Hellcats came from. That's where the Chrysler 300 came from. That's where the Crossfire came from, because those were Mercedes vehicles. Believe it or not, those were Mercedes vehicles at one point. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't know. Well, you know now. So with all of this going on, a lot of that stuff was still locked. Even back then, in 2006, I had a SRT8 Chrysler 300C. That's going to be in one of my other videos about all the cars that I own. That car, I remember when I got the car and I was trying to get it tuned and stuff, and I was trying to do majority of stuff myself. A lot of the stuff, they'll tell you, hey, if you do this to your car, it's going to void the warranty. So there's a walk around on stuff like that. Of course, some of y'all know, some of y'all don't know, to keep your warranty valid when you go in for your services. And Tesla, they literally locked out the whole car and didn't care. So what they wanted, they didn't want you to touch anything on that car. They maybe allow you to change the tire. But anything else dealing with software, hardware, you weren't allowed to touch it. They claimed proprietary rights again. So they got sued for that, of course. So that's when they started doing the toolbox. The toolbox subscription was something else. If you have a shop to work on Teslas, you know what this is. Even if you do it yourself. Because of Rich Rebuilds, shout out to Rich Rebuilds, he was one of the front runners who got into Tesla's head, per se. And because of him, they started giving a toolbox to different vendors or different shops so they can be allowed to work on them. And if you pay attention, all of this is just a cash grab. When you buy a new car, You get a warranty. To maintain that warranty, you had to do certain things to maintain that warranty. And to do that, you had to have those warranted items done at the dealership to maintain warranty. Different services, different updates, all of that stuff went through the dealership. So what happens after that? Warranty expires. You don't want to keep going back to the dealership. You want to find somebody else who can do the job for you. Like for us, small shops, we have, or should I say independent shops, sorry. We have to have our computers updated at least once a year, sometimes twice. That's money. Depending on how big your shop is, you may be able to make enough money to have your stuff updated to work on the newer stuff that's out there now. And it becomes expensive. And it's not more the dealerships or the manufacturers that's having this issue. It's the dealerships complaining to the manufacturers that other people can work on these cars, that they will promise they're the only ones that could do it. That's where it comes in. Because watch this. I guarantee you in a couple of years, they're going to unlock all of that stuff so you can get to the stuff to work on it. Because all of these cars now are technology driven, for one thing. And the other side of that is the mechanical stuff that the old head mechanics are used to. It's still there, but it's going to have an electronic in there to where you still can't do it because it has to be coded. Like even now, if you think about it, if you do a repair on a newer car, just throwing somebody there, maybe 21, 22, something like that, you have to have a computer or some type of software so you can do it yourself. And, you know, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are always saying, hey, these cars can be hacked. You can hack any car. I'm just going to be straight up with you. And any car manufacturer that's watching this, anybody can hack a car. You can hack a car with a toothbrush if you needed to. You can hack a car with one of those old Packard computers if needed be. It's not the fact that you can stop hackers, because go back to this. My grandmother used to say this all the time. If a thief wants something, they're going to get it. And that's what they've learned over the last few years about these Hellcats and everything else like that. Any high-end car that's out there, if somebody wants it, they can get it. So you can't run with the hacking factor of it. I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth of it. Because, like I just said, if the thief really wants it, they're going to get it. They're going to figure out a way to get it. So what I'm shooting for in the future is that the manufacturers and these dealerships will loosen up a little bit more than what they are and let the other businesses, you know, make money in it too. Because nobody wants to continuously go to the dealership where they're saying, well, you actually need a tune-up, but right now we need to change the whole motor. You're pushing sales onto these customers that they don't need. And a lot of time, it burns them out. They don't want to deal with dealerships for services and stuff like that. And that's the primary cause right now. A dealership does not make money on selling cars. They make money on that service department. You don't believe me? Do the math. Google it. A dealership makes money on a service department. I'm telling you, when you start cutting into their money, that's when there's a problem. And of course, they're going to shoot it up the ladder. What can we do to keep these cars keep coming into the dealership? Well, we could add this. We can put a lock on this. It could throw a check engine fault that no computer can take off but their system. It's been going on for years. This isn't new. It just changes every year to how much they can do. Just like, for instance, a few years back, I believe Honda was one of the first cars that had the automatic parking brake, the electronic parking brake. in order to change the brakes on the rear, you had to have a computer. Yes, an actual computer to unlock the brakes so you can do the rear brakes on it. But there's a cheat code for that too. Some of y'all already know it, some of y'all don't. But keep in mind, if a job needs to be done and that customer doesn't want to go to a dealership and sit in there all day, they call people like me and other people out here in the country, around the world, that's a shop that's going to do that same job the best of their ability, if not better. So keep all of that in mind. Don't let these people scare you and say, oh, they doing this, they locking us out of these cars so we can't work on them. It's going to be illegal to work on cars. It's never been illegal to work on your own stuff, because once you take ownership of that, that is your property. You have the right to take it to somewhere else to get it fixed. You have the right to not get it fixed. You have so many rights, but they're making it seem like that's the only option. You have to go through them. But it'll work itself out, just like the last few times it did. Because you can't control what you have no control over. You have, the design of that car is a patent. All the components in that car is a patent. You're not modifying it. You're getting in to do a service. You're not changing it. Now, there are companies out there that do aftermarket computers for these cars. That's how they make money. But at the end of the day, that customer is going to do what he has to do, or she, to get their car repaired at a reasonable price. And the government can't really lock down anything. If anything, that's why there's safety mechanisms in the system to where if it's something that's going on that you don't agree with, you can always take it to a court. So that's going to be it for this video, my little rant. And I hope it made sense to a lot of people that's listening to it versus people that's getting the information and then they're throwing it out everywhere. Oh, we can't do this. We're not allowed to change our tires. And that's what it turns into. You have one little thing that comes up and it's blown out of proportion. What they used to say back in the day, you tell one person one thing, and it turns out when you get to that 30th person, they heard something completely different. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and continue to follow me for all types of car information, car how-to, you name it. Check out your boy's channel. Like I said again, I'm going to say it again. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and put your comments in the bottom and let me know how you feel about it. And also on top of that, remember, check out my Amazon store, my Amazon affiliate store, and check out coverauto.com. And I got a few more other clients coming on, and I'll let y'all know as, the channel progresses. As always, if you broke it, I can fix it. Peace.